Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this right now, asking yourself, what do the questions of the universe hold, then we must sadly tell you, we got nothing.
Greetings and salutations, my psychedelic children, my beautiful souls, and welcome once again to this expose into the art of conversation. We've got nothing. I am your host, Catalyst Jost, coming at you once again from the beautiful sunshine wasteland of Central Florida, and I am here with my guest at this time. He is originally from the country of Nigeria and has since made a loving home here in the Orlando area for the past 9 years. And he is the co-founder and media officer of what is called the All Access Crew. Please, if you're ever down in Central Florida, give them a look up. Please help me welcome my good friend, Bruno.
Thank you for having me in your podcast, actually. Yeah. It's an honor to be here with the one and only DJ, all right?
I will say that a lot of people call themselves a DJ, but there is only one DJ.
Infamous DJ, yeah. So yeah, how you doing today?
Well, I think you already know how I'm doing. So before this podcast, Bruno and I, being the lovely sweethearts that we are, decided to donate a little bit of plasma over at one of the local plasma donation facilities, and him being smart and me just never having a good sense of timing, I decided to go in without eating a damn thing. Which is probably why I sound like I'm stoned, because I have the energy to keep going, but I'm definitely running at a little bit lower in terms of battery life here.
Let's see how you survive in the next 40 minutes, man.
Yeah, let's do that, right? So tell me, what has been one of the most eye-opening surprises since living here almost a decade in the Sunshine State?
Yeah, I've been here for almost 7 years now.
7 years,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so I came here in 2017, all right? I was born and raised in Nigeria, then I moved to the UK at 18 for school and work. Then in 2017, I decided to come down here because my siblings, they went to UCF. If you guys don't know, UCF is the University of Central Florida, one of the biggest schools in the United States. All right. So being down here is good. Then I realized that different states have its own culture and vibes. So a few years ago when I went to New York, it's very different. I thought Florida is going to be the same. The social life, coming from Europe where people are open to talking outside, being able to hold a conversation outside, it wasn't a thing in Orlando. People get creeped out when you walk up to them and introduce you.
Which is really surprising because, Florida is, there'll be some who would argue that it's not, quote unquote, the South, but it is a southern state, and mostly the southern states are really known for people being more open and friendly, unlike places in the north where you see a little bit more what's the word of it, ferality. I don't think that's a word. People are more feral up there, but there's a sense of community there. People basically they cosplay as mean people, but in actuality they're very nice. Where down here, and obviously you're an exception, but you're not from here too. A lot of people cosplay as nice people or come off with such a nice attitude, but you'd be surprised how rare that is to find down here.
Actually, I'm glad you said that here. So there is a virus growing within people here, right? and
A
somehow
virus.
you have to adopt like a metaphor. So you see how you said people here are nice, but they have bad intentions, and people in up north, right? They just have like a very tight face, but deep down inside they actually care for you. The reason why is because people down here want to know what they can get from you, so they come in as a pickup, like nice, bring you in, suck you dry, then jump out. You get me? So it reached to a point that down here, for people to trust you, you have to come up with a mean mug face, like in a way that you are not trying to get anything from them. Because if you act nice, even though you are very genuine, right, people would label you as someone trying to be slick, trying to get something from them. So you have to reverse your way of communication to fit the style here.
It sucks too because, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm not a mean person. I'm not like I have a very sharp wit, and like I'm linguistically quite intelligent, so I'm a smart ass, in other words. But like, I hate it when you kind of have to like switch into a different what my uncle would call ego state. In other words, like you kind of like are adapting to an environment where like people don't actually mean what they say, and I hate that because then it makes me feel like I'm being fake and non-genuine. When you know me, I'm friendly and I'm loud,
I understand,
and people don't like that down here.
You know, one thing I learned when I came down here, right, in the UK, like, we just talk freely. We don't like you, we don't like you. We like you, we like you. We see you, we have a conversation. We actually have an in-depth conversation. If someone comes in with a nice energy, it's because they have a nice energy. If someone is being a dick, they are being a dick, right? Now, I started to speak to people in a very genuine way, but they kept making it seem like I was trying to get something from them. But I don't blame them, because down here, like you said, people come in like a weasel, like, hey man, I care about you, man. But deep down, they want to suck you dry. So they become defensive. But now, if you put on like a strict face, like a strict face, like a very frowning demeanor, right? People feel safe. It's the reverse, because they think like, okay, this guy doesn't need anything from me. He's okay where he is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they connotate being nice to trying to get something from you. You know what I mean? But in New York, people like, you know, that's the thing. So I had to like adapt, because when it comes to dating, some girls will be like, hey, Bruno, man, you're nice and everything, but it's true, it's too good to be true. You're trying to get something from me, or what? What you trying to do? I'm like to them, I don't know what you're being true though, but what are you trying to say? So they will tell me like, oh, some guys, I meet them and they're all nice, like everything is going good. So before you know it, a month or two after, they take what they have, what they want, and they leave. So they connotate that to me like I'm going to do this, and I tell them, listen, I'm not from here, man. I come from a place where if we meet you the first time, we don't know who you are. We treat you the way we want to be treated. Except if you change it, then we switch up. So I don't really blame people here. It's what people have experienced here. So, you know.
One of the things I've noticed, I've taken to heart, and my friend Ed, shout out to you, Ed Broker, love you, dude, has said, he told me that essentially kind of the way he and I were raised, and a few others, like especially from my area, we were kind of raised old school in the aspect of like the thought that we would be able to grow up one day, go to college, and at the same time have a house, raise a family, and like to get to have that right partner with you, you gotta be honest and like express yourself and whatnot. The way he put it is, we were raised for a generation or a world that no longer exists. And I hate to put it that way because it sounds very nihilistic and almost negative, but like up until 2005, with the onset of new technologies like the iPhone and social media like Facebook, and looking how they've evolved over time, it's nothing like it was even like at the turn of the millennium. It's insane.
Well, like they said, as you have more good things, it comes with bad things as well. The more bad stuff happens, the more good things come with it. Someone created a gun to hunt, right? Or for sport, I believe. And then all of a sudden, people chose the bad way, killing other people. You get me? Social media was a way to connect with people and create more opportunities, right? Now people are using social media as a way to push modern day prostitution online. Right? OnlyFans. Don't get me wrong, they make that much more money, but it's just like that, like the OnlyFans and people are utilizing AI to impersonate other people as well. You get me?
Here's my thing on that. Like, so being raised a little bit more left leaning than the average person, I will absolutely like be there for moral support if you want to like sell your body in a virtual like setting. But like especially since being outside of the New York bubble and whatnot and seeing a few things like all around me and people's dynamic, I hate to say it, but I don't know if I could actually date or even financially support one of these people who like use social media to sell their intimate lives for monetary gain. Mainly because one of the biggest things is if I'm dating someone or even if I'm like just hooking up with them, I don't ask their body count. One, it's none of my fucking business. Two, that's just, and especially if you're aiming to like really be serious with them, that's just a can of worms that proverbially Pandora's box, you can't like close it back up. And with people who do OnlyFans or other online content creation that involves sex and other intimate acts, it's always going to be there and you're always going to know. And people will say like, yeah, you're just being insecure. It's like, well, I kind of am because like this is my partner and I get it. They had to get more money at the time because the economy's shit right now. But like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, you know what I like this generation is because like is that it's easy to pinpoint what people are saying because everyone says the same thing. Everyone uses the same phrases, you know. So when people say, "Oh, you feel insecure," that's not what they mean. What they're saying is, "Listen, man, I can't answer your question. I feel uncomfortable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you feel bad for asking me the question, aka what they call gaslighting." So when that happens, when people do stuff like that, okay, you don't just correct them, you let them know where they're coming from. If they're able to listen and understand, right, now you can move on with them. But if you cannot reason with them, there's no point trying to move forward with them. You know, it's a natural thing for people's ego to be hurt, right? But if the ego is hurt and they're willing to capitalize on what they actually mean or what they're trying to say by listening, right? If someone is able to listen to what you are trying to say without the ego getting in the way, even though they are wrong, if they listen to you, keep them. If they don't want to listen, there's nothing you can do. You have to move away from them. That's one thing I use in dating. So if a girl is meeting a guy or a girl is meeting a girl, right? They reach a point where like one of them feel that they're being attacked, right? Like you said, okay, the boyfriend asked the girlfriend, "Hey, did you do OnlyFans?" She's like, "Yeah." "Why are you asking me? Like, are you insecure?" And the guy says, "Hey, man, I'm just asking you, you know, to know your past. You don't have to come off like I'm trying to attack. It's a simple question, you know." Now, if she says, "Oh, I'm very sorry, I didn't mean that, you know, like I just thought that you were trying to get to my business," and you know she's able to comply with you, that's someone you keep.
That's one of the biggest hurdles with the modern day because we don't have such a thing as privacy anymore. like especially with the internet and whatnot. And the thing about when it comes to trying to form intimate romantic relationships is you got to be vulnerable. You're actively asking or for someone to enter or asking for yourself to enter their own universe. You're essentially trying to create a multiverse. That multiverse has their own parents, their own set of friends, their own lifestyle, and like the dynamics of the relationship is how to balance it and what's the word? Like polymorphize it into a coherent universe where both of you live with each other and genuinely have a romantic, loving connection.
Yeah.
And again, with the fear that any business that you have can be leaked online, or like if say one partner takes it the wrong way and they act upon it in an emotional way that spreads on social media, like regardless of who's in the right or who's in the wrong, that creates controversy, that creates scandal. And even if like it's not nearly as bad as what it's made out to be, it doesn't matter because everyone believes that the internet is real life nowadays, even though it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, it's just that. You have to deal with someone that is willing to accept their flaws. When you try to be very eloquent and simple with them, but if you try to do that and they're not trying to see where you are coming from, there's no point trying to deal with them at all.
Yeah, no, there was this one Instagram reel I saw where it actually happened over in downtown Orlando there, where these group of girls were trying to take a photo. Their friend was trying to take it. And one dude came up, he was like, hey, you want me to help you so you all can get in the picture? And one of them was like, no, because you're a man. And then like afterwards, they showed the girl like kind of apologizing and trying to talk to him and whatnot. But then it also goes to show like, people wonder why there's such an awkward dynamic when it comes to the social relations of today, like why men don't make the first move as they used to, or why like you're even scared like to go beyond like to even be friends with your coworkers because like in years past like a lot of romantic relationships have been formed through the office, through the job and whatnot, and now like with workplace stuff like sexual harassment, human resources, and it's like, and it's not, and I'm not denouncing the actual problems where these actually come in the form of manifestation. Yet the rare occasions, any occasion where it's not that case, how are you able to tell?
Well, like if, everyone is going through their own trauma, right? But that's not an excuse to attack or assume something of someone out there. I mean, I have had my own trauma as well. You have had as well. Before my own trauma, I've seen people have their own trauma, and I was trying to understand why do they put everyone as a whole, until I had mine and I realized, okay, now I see why people are making the mistake. Because when you have a trauma, you have to listen to yourself, look at the actions, try and break it down. Because if you don't do it, it takes one movement from someone outside and for you to judge the wrong person. Like the girl, maybe she has been taken advantage of, right? Or maybe she's been abused and the guy just came to say, hey, let me help you. So maybe in her mind, maybe a guy was like, let me help you, and then he took advantage of her. So that could be a trigger.
And the cycle continues.
Yeah. And so whenever you encounter someone like that, right, you take 2 step backs. You talk to them, see how they act, right? You always give people that have that 2 strikes, 1, 2, maybe 3. If the person doesn't show statement of empathy, oh, I'm sorry, I've had this in the past, I'm sorry about this, they don't try to, let you know that what is going on, you have to leave, bro. Okay? You have to leave, because if you don't, you'll be a victim. Because some people, up to this day, I was thinking like, when people reach 30 or 50 or something, right, they're able to deal with their trauma. I was wrong. Even when I remember I was dating older women, I used to think that younger girls, or I used to assume that older women, for example, were more matured, right, than younger girls. I was wrong. The number is just an age. Anyone that has a trauma that has not taken care of it,
Right.
or tried to listen,
Yeah, because your current partner, she's younger than you, isn't she?
Yeah, by 1 year.
There.
Yeah. Yeah, man, yeah. So I've been with some women who are 40 or 35, 32, and they're still holding on to some stuff which they're not dealing with. And what they do is they take that trauma and put it on other people, So,
Since going to therapy, and I just got back not that long ago from a vacation over a home in New York where we buried my grandparents. We, for the longest time, not only was I carrying trauma from my past up at home, like long before the deaths in my family, but like also the months leading up to when we knew the funeral was finally set and that we had to go through it. I definitely reached a new point of low, because for a while there I was doing great with the workouts and whatnot and starting to say more hi to people. But then like the months leading up to the funeral, I went back to recluse mode, started drinking a lot more, and like I still kind of kept up with the physical fitness, but like it was harder because of the bullshit I was pulling off. And once those band-aids were ripped off, both through the funeral experience and therapy, like since then, not only have I been talking to more people just in our general vicinity here in the complex, but also I've been really grinding out more to get season 4 out. And once again, I do apologize for the procrastination of season 4. It has been quite an arduous journey, like not just artistic wise, but mental health wise. But once you start once you rip the band-aid off, that's when you get air and medicine onto the wound, and that's when it can start to fully officially heal. And I think if this podcast is this episode is any proof of that, I think we're on a good track.
Of course. Yeah, man. You did a brave thing, pinpointing the day, like the ins and outs, and it seems like you truly understand what you're going through, what you need to do, and sometimes it's okay to ask for help. That's something I learned. If you're really, whatever you believe in, right? If you pray towards that, like you just did, speaking to your therapist as well. Most people are dealing with traumas, right? And they know they're holding on other people, but they're not taking care of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's sorry to cut you off. That's one of the dangers of having a faith, or more or less what I would like to call mainstream faith. What I would call mainstream faith is ideologies that fall under the Judeo-Christian beliefs, the Muslim beliefs, and everything like that, because there are some good points, like the idea of community, saying hi to your neighbor, the idea of having the discipline to find a partner and support a possible family life in that aspect. And what is it? With these ideologies, these religious ideologies, you also don't have to fear death. Because it's been said multiple times when it comes to these faiths, if, say, anarchy broke out in the country tomorrow, the biggest thing you can say with people with these strong belief systems is that they won't fear what happens, because they believe that there is a place beyond the physical realm and that there is someone always guiding them. So in that aspect, I have respect. But where I really start to diverge is some of the hidden subtexts of certain belief systems, like the idea that you have free will, but in order to really make it benefit you as a human, you have to willingly surrender to an invisible force, which according to its holy text has not been seen in 2,000 plus years, or if you want to be a dick about it, ever. and you also add in the fact that these certain belief systems have also copy and pasted a lot of other belief systems, like the Greek pantheon, paganism, and all that stuff. And if you try to discuss these, there are some who will be willing to discuss with you, but that causes such outrage, such hostility.
Yeah.
And it really begs the question, how can you properly have a conversation, even nowadays when people are just so much more sensitive?
That's a good question. I remember we had this talk a while ago that most people are too sensitive, So it's just that
I'm too sensitive, and I'm saying people are too sensitive.
So, everyone has his own perks. So there is a stimuli, okay, someone said something and I don't like or like it, right? Okay, I don't like what you say. So there is that. And there is unable to joke around. Okay, if someone says something that resonates with you very deeply, right, that unlocks a door that you don't want to open and you respond, that's a stimuli. It's a stimuli, right? But it's not what you do, it's how it's being done. So if you react saying, hey man, bro, what the hell is this, right? That's fine. But if you react oh, I'm going to beat this guy, or I'm going to shoot this guy, that is something you have to question yourself. Why am I saying this? Because sometimes I've spoken to people, right? I've dealt with people and they got offended to a point that they had to report to someone, okay? Without saying, hey man, the best thing someone can do is say, hey bro.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I don't address the person. I don't like how you said this, Don't talk like this to me anymore, please, okay? But instead, people are too scared to talk to you. So they go behind your back to report. And they make it seem like you're the bad guy, you know what I mean? So there are certain protocols. If someone tries to attack you or they're trying to be unprofessional with you, you have the right to report. But if you guys are having a conversation, the person has no idea about you, right? Let's say you react to coconut, right? I give you some coconuts, right? And you react to it, right? And you tell people this guy is a bad person, doesn't care about me. Number one, you could have come to me saying, hey bro, I react to coconut, don't give me this anymore. Okay, I'm sorry. But instead of them confronting you or talking to you about it, they go behind your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was funny because the other day I was doing my job and whatnot, and I saw at one of the buildings on the second story balcony, someone and their partner were popping off Smirnoffs, and the caps would fall onto the ground. So I just and I said it no different in the tone that I am right now. It's hey, look, I like popping off beers too, but here's the thing about it. I pick up after y'all. So could you guys show me a little bit of respect and not throw those caps into the ground and make my job harder? So after that, they fucked off for a sec, and I was chilling with my coworker, and one of them, the dude, was mean mugging and driving away. I wasn't paying attention. I'm not gonna give that energy at all. My coworker was telling me this, and then his partner actually came by and was hey, I wanted to say we weren't intending to do we weren't trying to offend, we weren't intending to try to litter and whatnot. we see you work hard all the time, and I just wanted to come up here and say, like, sorry if shit got caught in like translation. And I told her straight up, it's like, yo, dude, you're fine. I didn't yell, I didn't swear like you guys. Like, the fact that you are here telling me that to my face with my coworker next to me, out of your element, like, do you realize how respectful that is? And how pussy other people here, not just here, like anywhere, would not approach that at all. Like, that is so respectable. And like, I hope I hope her partner finds the same kind of courage she did. But
Of course. Yeah, man, this goes way back to home training, you know? The way people behave is not just how they are with their parents or what they like is their environmental exposure. But even though you came from a broken home, right? If someone comes from a broken home, they reach a point in their life as an adult that they know the difference between good and bad, and they're gonna strive to be better. You get me? So there's this thing that if we grow up in the wrong environment and we reach a point where our brain have developed so much that we can choose what we do. When people act a certain way after like 15, 16, 18, and 19, 20, right? That is their fault. They might say, oh, I grew up this way, this, no. When people give an excuse on their bad behavior, you need to be careful with them. Be careful with them, bro.
Yeah, no, and it's not like it's not possible for them to change. I think everyone has the capacity to change because it's one of the 6 basic life processes, adaptation, which is essential to evolution. Not everyone is capable of it, but everyone has that ability in their genes somewhere. You know, it's a matter of, can they access it? Can they heal from whatever trauma or whatever external stimuli that would prevent them from accessing that that aspect?
You know one thing I learned, because I didn't know of my trauma until my girlfriend spotted it, and she was like, Bruno, I noticed you act this type of way. Why? And I said, oh, that's true. And I wrote it down and I kept track of it. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not saying I'm better than everyone, but I just realized that if you have like an anger issues or trauma issues, right? If you sit down by yourself, because everyone needs time to process what's in their mind, right? If you write down what the issue is, whatever the issue is, if you know what the issue, you can solve it, you know? So I wrote it down and I was like, oh, this was easy. So when I wrote it down, I took notes of that. I was able to pinpoint how I feel every time this comes up. You get me? You know, even herself as well. She goes to her therapist, write things down, and put it into practice. So also, there's going to the therapist, and there's also putting it into practice.
Yeah, no, like there's things like journaling, reading specific material that the therapist suggests to you. Like it's never point A to point B. Like there's going to be hurdles and there's going to be challenges to see how you can learn and integrate what you've learned to become a more complete version of what you would like to be, you know?
Of course. Yeah, and one big thing, the places where you see how it affects you and the person is relationships and friendship. At work, you don't see it that much. You see it a little bit when you get close to them, but still, friendship. You have to be friends with them to see it, right? And to determine who is your friend, who is your boyfriend, who is your wife, girlfriend, is person who listens and says, okay, I'm wrong, okay, this is what I do. If you're dealing with someone and they're able to take one step back and think about what they did and be like, I'm sorry, man. Okay, that's a huge thing. You keep those people around you. We're dealing with people that up to date, they can't still look at where they're wrong or why they're acting a certain way or how their trauma is affecting them and you. And they keep saying stuff like, I can take care of myself, you know? you run away. You run away after you've given them time, because if you don't do that, that will affect you long term. Because I've been that guy that I've tried to save everyone, then I realized that some people don't want to be saved. It's perspective.
Yeah, I know, same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So everyone has their own trauma. No one is special with that. Everyone has their own trauma. You know?
One of the things we as a species also have to do is like define what really what those behaviors are, because one of the biggest arguments that I hear all the time, or argument statements, is that I hate introverts, like why can't you just talk to people, like cope, like all that stuff. But here's the thing, we don't often talk about what introversion and extroversion really are on their own as definitions. So basically, when it comes to that, those two subjects, it's not about like social behavior at all, because I have met introverts that are absolutely socially outgoing. The thing is, it's about how you receive energy from social situations. So with extroverts, they need to be amongst the crowd. It doesn't matter how big, to receive that energy and to be like happy-go-lucky. While an introvert, I'll use myself as an example, we can absolutely talk and gab days on end. I have been to festivals. I have been to Comic-Cons. This past vacation, when when we did the Celebration of Life, I literally saw everyone I had ever known in my life, and I was just bouncing off the walls, talking to everyone, like bzz, 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 bzz. But like after that whole ordeal was done, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Like introverts need their alone time and personal time in order to recharge for social situations. I think when people say they hate introverts, what they really mean is that they hate people who are antisocial, who actively, I won't say change the social dynamic, I'd say actively reject it altogether. Like, you have to talk to me, it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to you because of X, Y, and Z. Is like pretty much asking them to take a mile when you basically barely given them a centimeter.
When someone says, so bear in mind, when we are born, we're born with different characteristics and the different our way of body the chemistry, right? If someone comes and says, I don't like this person for something that is who they are, which is not affecting anyone, right? That person is a weak person. You know why? They're weak because they need someone to do their job for them. So if they are dealing with an introvert, they feel like nothing can happen, because people say that because they want someone to do the work for them, and the person and being an introvert, introverts like to be by themselves, right? Because they feel like they can't get anything. When someone can't get what they want for some people, they get angry. It's a reverse psychology. You get me? You know? Yeah.
And one of the things is like, I don't know if this is like because of my own neurodivergence or like because of like any antisocial like inklings I may have. But like one of the reasons I hate conformity, it goes back to what we were saying about submitting to certain ideologies, but in a more social setting, in less of a spiritual setting. Like people cling on to what's popular and how a certain dynamic is supposed to run, because if you stray outside of the dynamic, you're almost painting like a red flag on you and saying that I'm different and I'm proud of it, which is not a bad thing at all. Like, one of the biggest things with a lot of these belief systems and social ideologies is that like community is paramount. But what they negate to really highlight is what makes a community, and it is a gaggle of individuals. How can there be a gaggle of individuals if like everyone is under the same dynamic? And yes, you should share a big similar moral code, like don't fucking kill somebody, don't fucking rape somebody, don't hurt a child, like these basic things. But for things like not praying or not actively going out to socialize and whatnot, that's where the dynamic really gets screwed. Just because this person will talk to you for 5 minutes and then they got to go retreat to their room, that they're a bad person.
You know, it's like I'm going to say, right? Some people only think about themselves, you know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's right. So like with me, I am an introvert, an extrovert. So I wake up with high energy. I want to kick ass in the morning, right? Then as the day passes by, I want to be in my space, right? Then once I recharge and I'm out. So people who see me at the right time are used to me being energetic, right? Now if they see me quiet, they're like, Bruno, you are giving us bad energy. When people say that,
somebody told me that, I'd be like, you want to see bad energy?
So I asked them, well, what's your bad energy? You're quiet. I said, listen, man, just because I want to be quiet, that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, you know? So you don't expect it to see, like, it's normal, like, you can see someone say, hey, man, you're quiet, what's going on? There's nothing wrong saying that. But when someone says, why the bad energy? Some people don't know that things happen, so they assume whatever you show them is who you are most of the time. You get me? So yeah.
And here's the thing, one of the biggest complaints a lot of people have socially, dynamically nowadays is that nobody listens. Like, not just hears you, like actually listens and resonates with what you say. But how do you do that? You gotta keep your fucking mouth shut and hear what they're saying and hear the intonations of emotion and like feel what they're putting into what they're saying. And yet you want someone to just speak up and talk loud? Like, where's your middle ground? Like, what do you really want?
So at the end of the day, man, we can't really make people talk the way we want them to talk. We have to be ready, to be mentally ready to deal with people. And how to mentally deal with people is to take our time to speak and listen. If we do that and those people are still being unpolitely aggressive, we leave. We move away from there. Okay? People want to know why you're acting. So people are slow in adapting to a change. And our job is to inform. Okay? We inform. They're still trying to put a name on it or put a name on something that is not there. You have to live it, man. Yeah, because I remember I was in the car with my two friends, right? And they were like, yo, Bruno, man, like, you quiet, what's going on? You good? I said, listen, man, I'm an extrovert. Sometimes I just need to get my energy. So you get me? So in the head, they're like, oh, that's bad energy. Why is it bad energy? Because I'm not giving you what you used to. I get it, I understand that. But you have to be open your mind. Now, when you tell friends that, if they listen and they understand, that's fine. If they keep trying to, bring up things that is not there, you want to be careful. So it's basically knowing when to stay and when to leave, because people can surprise you at any time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So people, and one thing I learned, bro, before we ended, this is one thing that I learned. It's a very crazy thing. Most of the time when people talk to you, they're talking to themselves. If someone, I'm pretty sure you're new to it. I'm pretty sure you've heard about the word love bombing, right?
The word what?
The word love bombing.
Love bombing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's beyond me. Well, explain.
Okay. So I just started to hear about it. So love bombing is when you meet someone, right?
Okay.
And they start telling you how nice you are, what we're gonna do in the future, how great you are, how great they have been wanting in their life, right? And all of a sudden, everything they say and everything they have been doing dies down the rabbit hole after like a month. Okay? You probably met some people, they're like, hey man, let's ride or die, man, let's do this, man. Everything is all nice and cool. Then you see them after, then you realize that they are the opposite. So what I'm saying is that most people talk to themselves when people have unsolved trauma or unsolved pauses in their head. When they talk to you, they're not talking to you, they're talking to that in their head. So by them substituting you in that picture, it makes them feel like they're feeling something. You know what I mean?
I think I've been both the provider and the recipient of this, of that definition.
Really? Oh,
Yeah. No, well, since we're on limited time, I can't go into it, but that's actually been a thing I've experienced throughout a lot of life. I meet great people that make me feel like I'm not the insecure little boy that that ego state that I have locked in me, that I keep in check. And then once all that, it's almost like the honeymoon phase in a relationship. Once that's all done, but with this one, you kind of they almost near ghost you, but not quite. It really, it feels like a version of depression. It feels like a form of depression.
Oh, you mean the person, right?
Yeah, no, and I'm sure I've probably done this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's not just relationships, it's with friends as well. You've said...
Or acquaintances that you really resonate with, and all of a sudden, they're gone.
Oh, yeah. So, in Florida, when people can't do something, they say, oh, I got you, I'll do it. I learned when people say, I got you all the time, I got you, right? It means I'm just putting a few of words in there so that you can feel like something's going to happen, but nothing's going to happen. You get me? Yeah, not all the time, but some people that they just say, I got you, or okay, bet, fine, but nothing happens. So it's a thing that I felt down here that most people don't comply to what they say. That's why it's always good to say what you want to do when you're on a normal emotion. But if you're too happy, don't make plans when you're too happy.
Yeah, because that's mania.
Huh?
Because that's mania, being manic.
Yeah, so exactly. So you know how people say things when everything is good, right? That's normal. If we're happy, we're gonna be like, let's go to the moon. But there are people that thing that you're experiencing, right, happens almost every day. Okay? It's not like they're bipolar, but some people are dealing with something in their head and they feel like they have to give themselves this rush. So they try to project a positive thing so much that they are saying so many good things at once, and you've barely known them for a month. You know, everything looks real, and after a while, you realize that they're acting like they don't know you. But people say that they changed, but they didn't change. They were just talking to a ghost, and that ghost could be an ex, could be their traumas or things that they have been trying to do. So they use someone in front of them as a benchmark to forget about everything, you know. And that's something I notice it happens down here so much. Yeah, and when it's happening, I pay attention and I confront them about it. You know, people like, yo, Bruno, you're the best guy, or DJ, you're the best guy I've seen. You know, I feel like I've known you for a long time, you know, like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, you're the best, you know. I'm just paying attention, like, I just met you don't put trust in someone so fast, what's going on?
Exactly.
And sometimes it's not their fault, you gotta be careful. Sometimes you have to snap them out of that trance. Because if you don't snap them out of that trance, it becomes your fault. It's weird.
Yeah, no, and it kind of goes hand in hand with people pleasing behavior in that aspect too.
So what?
It kind of goes hand in hand in aspect with people pleasing behavior too.
Yeah.
You know, all you can really do is, like you said, be wary of the signs, and also be a person of your word. Like, say, when you say something and you're committed to something, go with it. if something changes with the dynamic of how it's done, be it the company or the location, still stick with it. It's not going to turn out to be the vision you want, but there it is.
Of course.
But one thing that is, I can say with integrity is that when it comes to modern day social dynamics, especially when it comes to squeaky chairs like yours, religious ideologies, the dynamics between both members of the opposite sex and beyond, flat out, folks, we got nothing. Now, before we completely close out, tell me, Bruno, I don't think this podcast will possibly make it out before your two events this month, but like beyond the scope of June, does the All Access crew have any plans in the months, the rest of the summer, say?
The rest of the summer, we're not sure. Right now, we are working on two events, one on the 22nd of June and one on the 29th. We're possibly trying to run something in August, but we are not certain yet.
All right.
Yeah.
And for those who are curious, in case just in the offset that this podcast does make air beforehand, those two events will be on the 22nd, an EDM pool party, and the 29th, a mix of reggaeton, Afro beats, and overall good multicultural times, both pool parties. And if you would like to find out more, please look at the highlights of the All Access Crew Instagram. And Bruno, is there any way you'd like the listeners to follow you at all?
Oh, yeah, check my Instagram at Bruno the Bionic Man.
Bruno the Bionic Man, there it is. And if you would like to see what future updates that myself or the Life on Saturn crew has in store, please follow Life on Saturn Music, or actually Life on Saturn Comics, on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you'd like to see what I personally provide in terms of content, please follow me at Catalyst Jost. That is CATALY 5TJ05T on Instagram. And with all that being said, folks, please keep your vibes dope, keep your zen flowing, and as always, peace.